The biggest fear that a Republican politician in the United States has is apparently the fear that the IRS is actually going to have enough of a budget to be able to function and do their job. And the Democrats' Inflation Reduction Act actually does give the IRS $80 billion to do their jobs. And more than half of that money, so more than $40 billion, is going to be used on enforcement. Because as we all know, we've all seen the reports over the last couple years, the IRS has reduced the number of audits that they do on the wealthy, right? The people actually cheating on their taxes. And instead, they're focusing more on auditing low-income Americans, people making under $30,000 a year. And the reason, of course, for that is because if you want to audit a rich person, right? If you wanted to audit Jeff Bezos, you're not talking about one person in one room spending 3 hours looking over somebody's tax returns and moving on. You're talking about an entire team. You're talking about lawyers spending weeks, if not months, going through one person's taxes. That costs a lot of money. And Republicans know that, which of course is why over the decades they've reduced the IRS's funding so that they can't do these massive enforcement efforts and instead have to focus on poor people because you can wrap that up in about 2 hours. You can get through, 4 or 5 a day versus 1 every 5 months. And the Democrats are trying to change that because they want these, people exploiting these tax loopholes, maybe not being completely honest. They want them to pay their fair share so that we can, of course, use that money to fund the things that we need in this legislation. Republicans are furious. And of course, they're led by multi-millionaire Rick Scott, who had this to say: "They're just going to go attack every small business person. We know how the IRS treats people. You're guilty until proven innocent." Guilty until proven innocent, said the man who had to plead the Fifth Amendment 75 times so he didn't end up implicating himself in potential criminal activity. Right, Rick? Nobody wants to talk about that anymore, though, do they? Here's the thing. This is not about small businesses, and Rick Scott knows that. And I love how Republicans always try to frame everything as like, oh, we're for small business. No, you're not, you lying sack of shit. You're for major corporations because that's who's funding your campaigns. You're for the super wealthy because those are the people that give you donations. And anyone who says otherwise is lying to you, just like Rick Scott. They don't want the wealthy to be taxed more because that's money that's obviously not going to be given to a Republican politician. The more money a wealthy person has, the more money a corporation has, the more money they have to spread out among the politicians. And that is what is so terrifying to these Republicans. They don't want to see the Democrats succeed. That also scares them. Anything that could make the country do better is bad for Republicans. But they're really pissed off about, the IRS maybe enforcing some tax codes. And it's not just, by the way, because their donors are going to have less money. It's because they would also probably end up having less money. As I mentioned, Rick Scott has hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions. Most members of Congress are also, in fact, millionaires. So this new IRS enforcement would also apply to them. Maybe they're the ones who get audited, which they should be. But it scares Republicans. They don't like the thought of anybody having to pay an extra dime in taxes unless, of course, you make under, $200,000 a year like Rick Scott's plan would have done. You're going to pay a hell of a lot more. But the wealthy, God, no. No. They shouldn't ever have to pay any more. And it's not just because they're protecting the donors. It's because they're protecting themselves as well.
This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.